Welcome to the Engineering Influence Podcast from the American Council of Engineering Companies, brought to you this week at the 2024 Annual Fall Conference by Bentley Systems. And very pleased today to be joined by representatives from Bentley to talk about a new suite of software, OpenSite Plus. It's the first to market AI-powered civil engineering software specifically built for site design and land development. Today we'll be speaking to their product development team to explore why it addresses engineering challenges and how it equips engineers to deliver high-quality projects up to 10 times faster than their existing workforce. And to be joined in this conversation, very pleased to welcome Francois Valois with VP of Civil Engineering, and David Settlemeyer, Senior Product Manager.
Thank you.
Francois and David, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
So this is really something, and I actually think this might be something that, we just, like I mentioned before we went on air, that we had a student who was learning Bentley and Bentley systems, and just thinking about the fact that when she graduates next year and joins actually, she was a geotech, so land development, she'll probably be using a suite of services like this. And AI has been sweeping the industry. Creating a suite of software like this is very timely, especially for the industry. I mean, really, what's the differentiator here? What makes this product stand out and really be a benefit for firms engaged in land development?
So OpenSite Plus is the first ever AI-driven site civil product, right? Mm-hmm. It's definitely dedicated to engineers and drafters that are trying to really create site designs, whether that is into the commercial, industrial, or residential sector. Mm-hmm. And it differentiated by the fact that it offers a lot more productivity than any CAD software out there. You mentioned the student of course you just said. A student out there, when they get out of school, they don't know a lot, right? So we build these next generation tools that are easy to learn, easy to use, AI driven. So we built a co-pilot experience in it. Mm. That means we could do things like interrogating documentation and requirements and figuring out what is needed in there. So that is helping, especially new worker that essentially may or may not know the regulation in the region they work in, to really own in into what to do. Then it can modify the model, it can interrogate the model by talking to the software. Mm-hmm. This is a new thing, right? So before we had our keyboard, our mouse, we could use your voice to finesse that. And then the second thing it does that I think is very, very powerful is automating drawing, drawing automation. Drawing creation takes up to 50% of a project time, 50. That's a lot of time that you are spending placing text on a piece of paper, essentially, in the computer, in the CAD software. So we're replacing all of that by an AI engine that is able to automate all this and will optimize for your technical requirements, legibility, as well as aesthetics. This was not possible before. Aesthetics is not something that a computer understands, but AI does understand these sort of things, right? So it does a lot for the engineers to help it to really quickly draft, design, optimize the layout, and then produce the drawings at the end of that. So it's a game changer.
Really, it sounds that way. I mean, one of the things early on in the discussion with AI, it was all about, of course, it's maximizing efficiency. And a lot of it was, dealing with more of the management side of the house. Of course, firms were trying to use it to actually maximize efficiency and marketing and generating, proposals and search, and QBS searches and things. RFQ searches and things of that nature. But I mean, what I was told at the time, this a couple of years ago, was getting to the point of AI assisted drawing is like the next step of actually being able to assist the end user of producing a plan and having AI drive that. That's a real breakthrough. I mean, I think actually using AI to produce something that's like a drawing that is more than just, you taking in text or information and putting out an answer. How long in the development cycle was that? I mean, that's not a simple thing to accomplish.
No, for sure. And the neural network that we have built in there, we built over a long period of time. We keep on optimizing it.
Yeah.
We also are very proud of the way we deal with our customers' data. That's also something that we differentiate with. You talk about differentiation, right?
Yeah.
One of which is how do you train these engines, right? We cannot, as a software company, and we should not. Any software company should not do that.
Yeah.
Unlike some of our competitors, by the way, use their customers' data to train their own.
And that's a big, and
That's
that's a
big topic.
huge thing, right?
It's a huge topic.
Yeah.
So we decided not to do that at all. So unless we have specific data agreement in there, where others are just using the end user agreement and basically sort of sweeping your data from their system, which is not a right thing to do ethically, right? And plus probably breaking, because the data engineering firms put the data in there. It may not even be their own data. It may be their owners. Right? And so then they're worried about IP getting generated and so on. So our data policy is that we don't. And that's making it harder on us, right? From a technology perspective, we don't use our users' data to train the AI.
Yeah.
We find other ways.
Yeah. That's critically important, especially for firms that are doing business with government agencies or the fact that data security and knowing how it's being used and the constraints that are being put on it are that's essential. David, what are your thoughts here? I mean, how is this really going to impact the end user?
So for the end user, this is a game changer.
Yeah.
No doubt. Prior to doing software, I actually owned an engineering company myself. Like Francois talks about, planned production is absolutely a massive take of my overhead. And now with even the workforce issues that we're seeing, there's just not enough people to do it. So now you compound that plans are becoming more complicated, having to have more deliverables, more sheets. When we started creating this product, it was about reducing that pain. So using AI, like Francois said, we're not training on their data, but we're creating a system where they can add their data in to their area and then have it learn to create plans the way they do.
Yeah.
So every engineering firm is completely different, and having that ability to, press a button and then 10 seconds later look at my sheet my way, that's huge.
Yeah, it really is an important thing because it allows an engineering firm of any size to really create a library of data and a process that is unique to their way of doing things. And you're providing the platform for them to structure that data to really produce something that would be completely unique to another firm using the same software platform.
Yeah, absolutely. And so we talked about the Copilot experience, and we go back to that because we talk a lot about the drawing production, which is fantastic and is a huge improvement in the workflow.
Yeah.
But the Copilot also is the way this works. Essentially, you create a new project. You say my Acme site layout.
Yeah.
Right? You go ahead and do that. You can upload all the documentation that you have from the different sources in there.
Yeah.
Right? It will index all that data within your own private space. And from there, you can start interrogating. Can I build an hotel in this area?
Yeah.
How many parkings do I need? And is my design containing enough parking lots to actually, meet my requirements? What are the setbacks? All those questions that, may be in the head of the engineer.
Yeah.
And he may not, or she might not remember what's out there. And so we allow to tap into that documentation.
Yeah.
Instead of reading 800-page documents, it just goes in there and provides evidence-backed answers as well. What I mean is that if it says, yes, you can build an hotel in this zoning, it will show you where it found it in the document. And then you could, read it yourself, edit it.
Yeah.
Because our AI strategy is not about replacing it, but rather augmenting it.
Yeah, and making them much more efficient
And I think
in what they do.
Something about the Copilot that's, to me, very valuable. As an engineer, we are very worried about getting bad information.
Yes.
That's why we got E&O insurance, right? Now the point, we had this question here. Well, where's the data coming from? This is not the Copilot like you use at your office, just searching the internet. This is very specific on the data that you're searching. So if it found an answer, that's a good answer. You can feel reliant that you've now got the right information to make a decision. And you're not going to worry about it later on.
Because it's the data that you put into the system that's proprietary to you that actually is generating the answer.
That's right.
I mean, when you're looking at it from a business case, I mean, David, as a former owner, I mean, the amount of savings and time. I mean, for an average firm utilizing this, I mean, have you guys done a kind of an analysis about what a usual cost savings would be for a project on this instead of the traditional way?
Yeah. So again, projects are all different sizes, all different. So when we talk about the 10x return, these are numbers that we got from the users that are working with us to build the tool.
Yeah.
They've looked at it, they've seen what we do, they're touching it, and they've come back and said, this is 10 times faster. So it depends. If you're a little more savvy on the software, you may see 4 and 5 times, which is a huge number.
Yeah.
If you're a little further behind, you might see 10. And for some people, they think it's probably going to be greater than that before it's over with.
Yeah,
It saves time, but also think about the mental space that
Oh,
this
yeah.
creates for the people.
Yeah.
Right? How many projects we all worked on that essentially ended up producing the drawing over the weekend because there was a last minute change, right?
yes.
Well, hopefully this person can use it on Friday and use the AI, validate the plans, and ship it to the client, as opposed to have to spend the whole weekend, right?
Yeah.
And how much does that do to the quality of life of your people? And all
Yeah.
that, right? So you
And-
don't necessarily have to squeeze the lemon, but rather give a bit more freedom, and also use the engineers for what they're great at, which is think and design,
Yeah.
and then remove any of the mundane tasks and the tedious stuff right out of the work. That's
Yeah.
what we're trying to do.
And I think that really is the kernel of the importance of something like this, which is AI driven, is that it allows the engineer to be an engineer. It allows them to
Exactly.
focus on their core competency instead of the other things that have to overlay that. And also from the client side, I mean, being able to receive a plan at speed and knowing that it's a quality design that took in all those variables because the suite of software is already, to your point, already has that kind of framework that it will ask and analyze those questions preemptively in the process of actually developing the plan.
So one thing you got to look at from a client standpoint, and why this brings value to the engineer for their client, is in land development especially. Some people don't realize the minute they come to you with a property, they're putting money down.
Yes.
There is a financial ticker on that project that minute. So if it's a bad project, they want to know it because they want to limit that risk and they want to get out. If it's a good project, then let's get it done faster. But they can lower that financial risk, and they appreciate engineers to do that.
Yeah.
And they will go back to those engineers over and over.
Absolutely. So, is there any built-in interoperability with other Bentley softwares, or is this more of a standalone product that, given the fact that it does deal with data collection and AI, does it communicate with other software suites, or is it its own standalone program?
Yeah, it's fully interoperable, not only with Bentley, but we're also with Autodesk, with Cesium, with Google, with Esri.
Yeah.
So all the things you might need as an input, right? If we're doing the site civil, you might need the footprint from the architect or something. That might come from a Revit file.
Yeah.
You might get the roadway design from an Open Roads, kind of tools, or, so we gather that information, we make it part of the project. We call that, informing the digital twin, essentially your digital design, your digital delivery, because this is all working in 3D as well.
Yes.
So it goes into, does the site planning and the drawing production. All of that is done in 3D and automatically creating the drawing. So this is very powerful in that context. So when it comes to digitally deliver, not only a lot of clients starting to ask for the models, right? It has a whole bunch of exports as well to other formats, to IFC, for example, if that's required, or to other formats as well. So it kind of really allows to cover the whole workflow.
Yeah.
From the concept through the final design, through the digital delivery, drawing production, all those things, right? The whole gamut in one package. And that's very, very powerful.
Yeah.
And I'll say an example of that is one of the biggest pains inside the site design industry is creating a model or a design and then having to go to a third party hydraulic design software, whether it's an open flow products or like Autodesk have their own. Everybody loses data and accuracy.
Yeah.
Well, we decided when we started building this, the open flow technology is going to go inside of this tool. So if you don't leave the tool to do storm drainage design, it's right there.
It's right there
for you. Makes it for more clean delivery.
Yeah, one-stop shop, pretty much everything right there, completely interoperable. So it's definitely you don't have to worry about, to your point, any data loss or any problems with shifting over to other softwares or any what you have. For firms out there who want to learn more about the product, where should they go on the Bentley site?
Yeah, they could type in Bentley OpenSite Plus into any good search engine. They'll find reference to that. Currently, OpenSite Plus is available in early access for only a limited number of Bentley clients. We're keeping that small because we want to work with firms that are really interested in working with us and expanding this and developing this. We've been working also with our first mover advantage clients. So I'm going to name a few. So Pennoni, HDR, WSP, Burns and McDonnell, and others that have allowed us to talk about them openly. And then we're developing that fantastic piece of software, and we want to have a bit more people to join us to be engaged with us, especially large firms in North America involved in site civil. That'll be a perfect fit for us.
Fantastic. Well, I would encourage any firm out there in land development to check out OpenSite Plus from Bentley. It's a good example, a great example of how AI is transforming the engineering industry, how it's increasing productivity and allowing firms to do more with less time, and let engineers do what they do best, which is design and deliver for their clients. So, Francois, David, thank you so much for joining us. I hope you have a great conference. I hope you get some people, a lot of people at your booth this week. And I also appreciate you sponsoring the podcast programming this time. It's always great to have Bentley part of the program.
Thanks for the partnership, and thanks for having us.
We appreciate it greatly.
Everybody.
Yep, thank you so much. And again, this has been Engineering Influence, a podcast from the American Council of Engineering Companies, coming to you from our 2024 Fall Conference, sponsored by Bentley. And we'll see you next time.